Damn. My man Vasquez up there. Hey, I know this isn't an official stat, and I know you baseball nerds don't have this in your role. That's 2 starts with 2 post-game interviews.
Another podium game.
Two post-game on-field interviews for Christian Vasquez.
Did
he call a good game?
Hey, another podium game for my guy Christian Vasquez, man. Hey,
did he call a good game?
Hey, he didn't make a good throw on that steal attempt for Bryce Harper, but everything else was pretty good though. Everything else was pretty good.
The other one was stolen on Javier.
I wonder if like Maldi was in the dugout, like, man, I would have got that. I would have had him out, man. The machete would have handled up.
Hey, they haven't allowed a run with him. I think I don't have like the official count. I think it's 32 innings Christian Vasquez has caught, and he hasn't allowed a run. And I know, someone will say, well, Javier's 11 of those innings. 5 are from Garcia, and there have been pitchers that have thrown multiple innings to him. Vasquez did his thing. Christian Javier, though, is the hero of the day. I do wonder, like, is he going to be ready on 3 days rest? It's going to be all hands on deck. He's at least going to be available. Now, starting after something like this, I find hard to believe. But, we've seen Madison Bumgarner pitch a gym and then come in and relieve for a long time. I anticipate he's at least going to be, if there is a game 7, he's at least going to be available. Man, that was it's just crazy when you look at this and you look at where the series is right now, and you have the Astros with the series is 2-2, and the Astros really, the 2 guys that are their big money pitchers, which is how you put it, those guys haven't really come through, and it's your 2 young cats that didn't become a part of things till 2020 that are carrying you. It's just really, really, really impressive. And look, man, like, I don't want to get too ahead of things because we got a big day ahead of us, and there's plenty of time to talk about it. But when you're thinking long term, like with what Vasquez looks like he is right now, which is the best pitcher on the team, and maybe in baseball. Is he the best pitcher in, like, he's the best pitcher in the
Javier, right?
What did I say? I said
Vasquez, yeah.
Yeah, I still got Vasquez on my mind. That's what happens when you get a post-game interview.
Hey, but maybe the best catcher on the team.
Oh, maybe. Come on. What are you, Dusty? Maybe. But Javier right now looks like he's ready to be one of the better pitchers in this league. He's the best pitcher in the rotation. So, is this kind of a passing in the torch? Is there kind of like some symbolism in that he got a 5-0 lead and he held on to it, and Justin Verlander got a 5-0 lead and he blew it? And obviously we got JV going tomorrow, but if we're thinking long-term and you're thinking about the decisions you're going to have to make after the year, this looks like a future top of the rotation guy to me. And we think the best is yet to come. So, not to get ahead of ourselves, it just kind of seemed like, that decision that they're going to have to make. Maybe you can invest money in some bats because you need some bats at this point, specifically maybe like someone to replace Michael Brantley because they've struggled like hell to do that. Javier, he just looks like the dude, man. He looks like the dude.
I thought it was funny that you mentioned it well, first of all, the thing with Javier, you see the report that Ken Rosenthal had that Kevin Cass texted him in the middle of the game saying that he thinks this is the best pitcher on either side of on either team in the entire series.
In all honesty, I heard that before the series even started. Like I've heard people say that before the series even started.
Yeah, I was wondering if did Ken Rosenthal respond by saying, "Does that mean you would have taken him out after the 4th inning?" as he's at his best. But anyway, no, I thought it was interesting that you mentioned this in the context of Game 7, though, Landry. Like, that's an interesting way to look at it. Like, what is Javier's availability going forward in the rest of the series?
Like, I can promise you, like, he's available.
Well, yeah, it's the World Series. But here's my thing about Game 7, though. Like, I wanted to stop you right there because that's where I'm going. That's kind of my angle from this game and really the rest of the series. It's like we're trying to avoid Game 7. You guys were talking about this on In the Loop today. Like, if Game 7 is going to be Lance McCullers, like, do you want any part of that experience? Like, I like the prospect much more of Justin Verlander possibly redeeming himself in Game 5 and getting you a 3-2 lead going home with Framber Valdez having the opportunity to close the series out for you. Much more than I even like the idea of even thinking about going to a Game 7 and what those possibilities look like. Like, I just don't like it. And not just with McCullers, but the matchups overall. Like, think about it. The bats came alive today, but in the McCullers game, you got McCullers giving it up early, and you got shut out on the other end. Suarez was dealing, you couldn't get to the bullpen. So, like, I don't necessarily like that matchup in a Game 7 on either side. Our pitching, from the Houston standpoint, McCullers pitching, and then also going against Suarez. So I'm trying to avoid Game 7 at all costs.
I feel that. And the good thing about this is, the World Series is going to be won in Houston. We don't know who's going to win it, but the World Series is going to be won in Houston. And you're absolutely right. Like, I'm getting ahead of myself on Game 7. But, as much as we've talked about Verlander struggles, if this isn't where the Astros want to be, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I think a case could have even been made. Like, if they had fallen down 3-1, would the odds have been against them? Yes. But it would have been similar to 2016 when the Cubs were down 3-1. The Cubs were down 3-1 to the Guardians, and the Cubs were considered the more talented team like the Astros are, but they had their rotation set up perfect. Like, their rotation was set up perfect. They had their top 3 dogs, and the Guardians, and can I say Indians if it was the past? Like, that's not that canceled, is it? Indians, okay. I'm Cherokee, so okay. The Indians. God, I sound like a little bitch right now.
I don't think we're getting canceled on the sports YouTube and Facebook channels for calling a former team the Indians. I think we're good. I think this space is good.
I'm Indian, so but my point is that they had the rotation set up perfect. Now, do you have concerns about Justin Verlander? Sure. Framber has been great, and then they believe in McCullers, and McCullers is the guy that they've wanted there. So even if they'd fallen down 3-1, a case could be made. The point I'm making is they had the rotation the way they wanted it, which is the most important thing. So now you have that, and you're at 2-2, and it's coming back home, and Justin Verlander gets to look to redeem himself, and your bullpen's healthy, and maybe you're hitting better. So, they're in really effing good shape right now. They're in really effing good shape. It's 2 out of 3, old school baseball, and that's where the Astros are at right now. And it's going to get really, really fun tomorrow. Massive sports day. You got the Texans and the Eagles, and you got the Phillies and the Astros. It's going to be sick. I'm pumped for this, and I'm happy that we're talking about Justin Verlander with an opportunity for redemption in a tie series instead of down 3-1.
But you know what's messed up about it? Like, it's a much better feeling to be tied 2-2 with Justin Verlander having an opportunity to redeem himself and give you that lead in the series, as opposed to like elimination scenario, which would have been obviously if they lost. But doesn't it suck that the confidence is shaken to the point that it is, to where like you're hopeful and somewhat optimistic that Justin Verlander can redeem himself? And like, I feel like he can, but like I wish I felt a lot more confident in the Cy Young winner, in the ace, in this moment. Like,
I'm not as concerned as I am with McCullers, though.
No, it's not even near the same degree. I've said that on Twitter a lot. Like, I view those two stars totally differently in terms of how they went, how they were managed, all of that. But it still was concerning. Like, it still is an issue. And it's not even just Game 1 with Verlander, right? And you've been the one that's been talking about this, man. Like, it's a body of work. It's an issue,
He's 0-6 in the World Series with an ERA of 6.07 in 8 starts, and he's allowed 9 home runs. They put the graphic up on there. It's not pretty.
What do you do with that? Like, what do you do with that going into a Game 5?
You just hope that the Hall of Famer can pitch like the Hall of Famer, or the Hall of Famer doesn't completely wet the bed like he did in game one. That's what you hope. And I mean, I wouldn't bet against him. I wouldn't bet against him even with everything we've said. I would bet against Lance McCullers.
Yeah.
I would bet against Lance McCullers in a game 7. But I haven't gotten to the point where even with all this, being done, I just think Justin Verlander is cut from a cloth, and I think Justin Verlander is built such to where he can go out there and give you 5 solid innings. You're going to have to hit, like you did in game 1 and like you did today in game 2. But I would bet on Justin Verlander. Now, have I bet on Justin Verlander been wrong? Yes, but I haven't gotten to the point where I am with McCullers at the moment where I wouldn't bet on him.
I don't know if I would bet on him or not, but I will say that I feel like I'd rather have him than not. Like, I feel much better about having Verlander than not having him, despite what we saw in game 1. But my question is, and since you were kind of looking ahead, I kind of want to go back to that, like, talking about passing the torch and what this looks like long term. I mean, what is this World Series performance going to say about what to do with Verlander in the offseason, and especially not just him, but how you prioritize?
He's got to go. I mean, he's got to go. I've thought that even before.
But also how you prioritize your young guys. Like, the passing of the torch element to me is going to be interesting too. Like, if you do move on from Verlander, how you prioritize these young guys. Like, it's looking like it's some kind of combination of, Fromber, Javier, Urquidy's in the mix there, but obviously Hunter Brown's going to be coming up. It's going to be like in the rotation. And, you got to figure out, like, I guess what you do with Cha-Cha, and, like, it's an interesting mix.
It's a hell of a problem to have, I will say.
Yeah. I don't even know if it's a problem now, like, in terms of, like, Verlander might be fixing the problem for you, saying, hey, maybe you don't invest $40 million for somebody who's not going to be reliable in the postseason or reliable in the World Series when you get there. Like, what are you paying for anyway? Just another. I mean,
I just want
campaign.
I want him so badly, and he deserves it, man. He's worked his ass off, man. He's got to go out there and pitch well, man. Like, it's just hard to fathom him going out like that. Like, just for his sake. Like, even if, look, the way the game plays out is the way the game plays out. If Philly wins the series, salute. You got hot at the right time. Very talented ball club. One of the highest payrolls in baseball. Charge it to the game. But I don't want to see Verlander go out like a chump. And if he pitches like he did, in game 1 of the DS or game 1 of the World Series, he's going out like a chump. But so I want him to at least have 5. If it's a tie game after 5 innings and Justin Verlander walks off the mound and he leaves it all out there and it's a good end. That's my dream scenario, no matter what. Worst case scenario, that's what I want, because I just don't want Justin Verlander, with everything he's been through, everything he's accomplished, the trophy that's inevitable that he's going to win, overcoming all odds. Like, if Justin Verlander would have come back, and I want to make sure, like, I make this clear with Justin Verlander when we talk about him. Like, if Justin Verlander would have come back and been like the 3rd best pitcher in this rotation and given you the innings that were in that contract, then that would have been success, man. Like, you're 39 years old, you're coming off of Tommy John. He won the freaking Cy Young. And I just don't want Justin Verlander to go out like a chump. I just don't. I think he deserves better than that, and I just hope that he's able to not go out like a chump and at least, sit on the bench and know that he gave his a decent effort when his team needed it the most. Because I know that's just not. I just don't want him to go out like that.
Yeah,
I don't want him to go out like that.
Yeah, and I've always found the postseason failures to be odd anyway, because he's just so inarguably great, like, and just clearly great. You know what I mean? So it's just
kind of like
weird
Kershaw
thing.
was for a while.
Yeah, it's the same thing. I mean, he's like the right-handed version of the same thing, and like
And
it's just
Kershaw had his moment.
yeah, and finally did have his moment, right? So like it's an odd thing and probably unfair because it's a small sample size, but it matters more.
Bro,
And so
it's 8 World Series starts though.
yeah. I mean, it's 8 World Series, but how many starts does he have? I mean, you if you're gonna win 3 Cy Youngs in your career, how many starts does it take to win 3 Cy Youngs? So like relative to his overall body of work and the success that you know him to have, it is a small sample size, but it's enough though. Eight is enough, and it's bad. So yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I want to see him go out on top, especially with the Astros, especially if there's a chance that this is last year here. On top of that, and I've talked to him about since the whole sign stealing thing. I've actually talked to Verlander about wanting to get that, and this narrative is not overplayed of wanting to get another World Series to kind of validate
No,
the
he's been very open
2017.
about it. He's
Yeah,
been very open about that.
very, very much open about it. Wanting the respect of their peers matters to them, and so like I want it for all of them who care about that specifically, and then like just overall, like when you talk about the legacy of this squad, like it, Verlander can't be the reason why you don't win the World Series. Like you're supposed to win. You're supposed to win this World Series off the strength of your starting pitching, and Verlander is the ace. Verlander is the anchor of that. So like he can't be the reason why you don't win it. That's like counterintuitive to what they're supposed to even be about this year, to what the team identity is supposed to be about with the Astros. So I want it for all of them for Verlander to be good.
Something else. I mean, we got to address the. I don't even know if it's an elephant in the room. What are they going to do at DH? Everyone today got a hit except Alidmus Diaz. The DH spot between Diaz and Mancini, they're 1 for 39 in the postseason. You heard me right. They are 1 for 39 in this postseason.
Is there a reason to go away from Hensley, from the rookie at this point? Because he got a hit yesterday in the previous game.
Correct.
Game 3, and then they pinch hit for him later for some reason. You remember that? They pinch hit for the dude later. Like what are we doing?
I would go with well Vasquez would be my catcher, but if you just have to have Maldi out there because you can't quit him, I think you DH Vasquez. And it's actually really, really stupid that the reason why this doesn't appear to be a possibility is because you have Dubon on the playoff roster. Like you didn't keep a third catcher. You have Dubon on the playoff roster. And even with that, the emergency situation is if Maldi leaves the game, then the DH spot becomes the pitcher and Vasquez goes in. But how many times have we seen Maldi leave a game? Like at this point, like we're talking about pitching Christian Javier on 3 days rest. Like it's an all hands on deck thing. I mean, I think the best option for the DH is Vasquez. But they're not doing that. And look, they don't want to do that because they'll tell you, we need an emergency. Well, you should have kept 3. What is Dubon doing? Like what do you? I mean, I know Dusty got his guy in there in the end as a defensive replacement, but what are we doing there?
And see, I hear you. I'm with you on the idea of Vasquez being DH much more worthy, I think, than the options that they've had there now. But I honestly like him better as just the catcher because I think he's fine at catcher.
I just don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, no, I get it.
But he should have been the catcher the second they traded for him.
Because he eliminates the hole that you have at catcher. So like having him and Maldonado out there is also like that's hustling backwards to me. Like he should be out there fixing the hole that you have at catcher offensively, and he's fine defensively. Obviously, he is. How many no-hitters has he? Okay, so he caught a no-hitter just now, and then that's 2 podium games, basically post-game interview type games.
I'm actually doing his stats as we speak right now. He in the postseason, and these are the official stats, he has caught 32 scoreless innings to multiple pitchers. So this isn't like just some sort of Javier thing. He has caught 32 scoreless innings of baseball. 32. That's
What are
pretty
we
good.
doing? And he's the better hitter on top of that. Like I don't want him DHing, honestly. Like, because to me that's a cop out. I want him catching and put the rookie in at DH, and let's stop with this Diaz Mancini nonsense. Those dudes are lost. Diaz is swinging at he's swinging at balls that are, a mile off the plate, and they know he's swinging. Even his takes are awkward. It's like, man, get this guy. And then we already know what kind of train wreck Mancini's been. So Vasquez in it. If they want a platoon catcher, if it means that damn much to him, but I want Vasquez in there at catcher and put the rookie in at DH. Put the rookie in at DH. Honestly.
I mean, you at this point, it's almost cruel putting Diaz out there. Yeah. I think.
This is a good question. Do y'all even think Dubon is good at defense? That is a great question.
I don't know. Honestly, you're asking a good question. I know that they like him because he can play everything.
Definitely.
I don't think I don't like that. That is one of the best questions that's been asked to me, because I think he's a good utility guy. Like, if someone goes down, he's a good guy to have on the roster because he can play a lot of places. But no, I don't think he's like, hey, let's take Chas McCormick out and put Dubon in center field. I don't see that. It almost just seemed like they just wanted to get him out there.
Well, they usually move Chas over, right?
Yeah, and they moved Chas to left, yes.
Yeah, but this is still
they took out Diaz.
I'm trying to see here if I can find like defensive run saves, where he ranks, or anything like that. Like, I don't know. Here's the thing, though. I do know this much with Dubon and the defensive thing. We've heard Dusty talk about it. It's the arm, right? It's the arm that they like better.
Okay.
But like, is he a better athlete than Chas? Like significantly, like not marginally, but significantly better of an athlete than Chas, for like any reason why you need to have him on the roster. Like, and I've been saying this for a while too, Landry, that to me, Chas has been the guy in center field for a year now. Should have been. And I hate that they've been kind of jacking around with it all of this time, and they're still doing this Dubon thing. To me, that's taking up space because you don't need him defensively, and he adds you nothing on offense. So, yeah, man, I don't know. I can't even find him on Fangraphs, like fielding stats.
That's wild. It's real wild. It's fun though, man. And this is fun. We're all in it together. And it's a fun journey. Tomorrow's going to be a fun day. You got JV on the bump. It's going to be interesting to see when the lineup comes out. Maldonado's going to catch. Who's going to be the DH? Probably Hensley, I would think. They go back to Hensley at this point. And then it's really just going to be all eyes on JV. That's the most meaningful thing that's going to happen. Is Framber Valdez going to have to save your ass like he did in game 2, or is Framber Valdez going to be the guy that's going to take you home? That's really what it all comes down to, but it's all about Justin Verlander. All the buildup, all the adversity, all the uncertainty, it comes down to tomorrow with 35 on the bump. And as bad as things are right now, it's not a bad place to be. It's not a bad place to be with Justin Verlander on the mound against Philadelphia. My dad always would say to me when something would be happening when we watch a sport game, well, if I would have told you that we would be down, like it was always like that. Like that was always like the glass half full pops trying to talk me off a ledge. Like, well, if I would have told you we'd be tied before the season at 2-2 and Justin Verlander would be on the mound in Philadelphia, would you have taken that? And I'm like, yeah, I guess so. So I guess if you want to look at that like pops half full type stuff, then there you are. That's what you got.
Yeah, I guess if I was going to take kind of another cliche and put it out there, I would say I would be Captain Obvious over here. So I'm warning you, I'm going to be Captain Obvious for a second. It's a 3-game series now. Now it's a 3-game series. It's best of 3. And you just got to win the best of three. You know what I mean? So like you got Verlander, you got Framber Valdez. You feel like he should be able to win 2 out of 3. The series starts over now, Landry, and it's just a best of 3, as if you can't do math on
It's all
your
good.
own.
Let's get it, man. I'm pumped. I'm all about it, man. You're going to be on the show tomorrow at 11. So we got B Scott coming through at 11. A lot to talk about, a lot to get into. Brandon Cooks is faking. And I mean, Brandon Cooks is personal. I mean, I don't know. Brandon Cooks is a weasel. So probably not going to play tomorrow.
We got to talk through this Brandon Cooks thing, because I am a little bit, because I thought, and I understand where you're coming from, but I also thought that we wanted Brandon Cooks out of here. Like I thought we were trying to get rid of the Easterby era. I thought we were trying to get rid of expensive contracts and guys who are don't really serve a purpose.
It's one thing to get rid of an expensive contract you inherit, but they kind of created this one.
Well, yeah, I mean, get rid of your own mess. I mean, I thought we wanted him out of here, so I thought the feeling was mutual, and it seemed like y'all mad because he want to be gone. Like, I'm like, man,
no, I'm not mad because he wants to be gone. I'm mad because he's he doesn't make any sense. But we got plenty of time to get in that. We'll get into that tomorrow at 11 with you. I'll holler at you. I'm gonna go live on Locker Room right now, so come on over to YouTube if you people so desire. We'll cuss and discuss this. And talk to you tomorrow at 10. B Scott, keep doing what you do, my friend.
All right, man.